Hello, everybody. How's it going? Thanks for joining us here at the OneTapCast, episode something or other, where we talk about video games and stuff and hang out, have just a good old time. If you're not doing it already, please drop a follow for the Twitch stream. If you follow us on twitch.tv/OneTapCast, you catch us live on Wednesdays at 8 p.m. It is December 9th, exactly 8 p.m. on the dot. I have finally figured out how to be punctual and to bug my co-host to get on time and have all my prep work done ahead of time. Professional content makers. So
we're getting there.
Yeah, we have some new layouts. If you want to check it out on YouTube or listen or whatever, you can picture our beautiful faces. I promise we're stunning and gorgeous and Calvin Klein models. If you come check it out, you'll find out in person. But I'm having a good week, man. I'm enjoying myself. Let me tell you.
Yeah, I've been working from home a lot.
It's understandable. There's a plague.
Not as fun as it sounds. I just get kind of sick of not doing anything.
Thanks, Brian.
Even though it's like I'm a customer service based job, right?
Yeah.
So, I
feel that
work really when people need something.
Yeah, no, you work when somebody screws up.
But if nobody needs something, then I'm just kind of twiddling my thumbs, and that gets really boring really fast. So it's been an okay week.
Understandable.
Okay week.
It's understandable. Well, we've had some pretty hype stuff going on in the last few days. Some really exciting stuff. For those that don't know, First Strike, the first major Valorant tournament, has officially wrapped in all of the regions. We're going to do a bit of a recap today, talking specifically North America, Europe, and Korea, kind of the big three of the game, at least in my opinion so far. And we got some patch notes. Got a new patch today. Got some new stuff to talk about, which is kind of cool. And then we have some other gaming stuff to get to in the other part of the chat. But we got a lot of Valorant to talk about. You know, we made this thing where we're going to say, we're going to switch to just doing like some general gaming content, talk about what we want to talk about. But I've really just wanted to talk about Valorant for the last couple of days, last couple of weeks.
The game just
so we
want
just
to talk about today.
I know.
Valorant, so.
We hit it, man. We hit it. So first and foremost, I called it.
Did you?
100 Thieves won the tournament for NA. I called it. I said they were going to do it. You heard it here first. Everybody in chat. I'm a genius.
Put money on it.
You know what? I'm just not gonna say anything. We're gonna just. I definitely didn't put money on it.
Not encouraging gambling.
Nope. Gambling is bad.
Idea.
Don't do it unless you're me and smart. So, no, I'm just kidding. Gambling is very bad. Don't do it unless you're gonna do it responsibly. Yay, fun. Like buy magic cards or packs. Anyway, it was a really great tournament. I had a lot of fun watching this NA tournament. I got to watch pretty much every single game. I missed the initial Immortals and Renegades match, but I got to watch every other game, at least live or re-catching up in VODs, because a lot of them happened like right as I was getting off of work sometimes. But man, this was some good sets. So we had a lot of 2-0s, which was interesting to me. I was expecting some closer sets, but we got there in the what was it? Near the semifinals. We got some 2-1s, some closer matches, but they put on a show. Everybody, hats off. Round of applause to every competitor. Every single one of you guys did awesome. You're so good at this video game. I don't understand, but I see some promising stuff.
Very promising. Fun to watch. Very fun to watch.
But quick little recap. First, we have 100 Thieves in first place. Second place, we had TSM. Third and fourth tied are Envy and Sentinels. And then followed up is Immortals and Renegades. And then T1 and FaZe Clan, rounding out the rest of this top 8. So, big ups to everybody. Everybody did wonderful. Shout outs to Raucus for living up to the Overwatch player meme, because you went like 5 and 28. You just got to do better. But you're living up to my Overwatch meme player. I'm pretty sure I could have swung on you this weekend and taken a fight or two, but
sheesh.
We'll get there one day. But anyway,
goodness.
100 Thieves. I'm going to talk about them a lot because I saw a lot of really cool stuff and them like coming like their culmination of a lot of these plays and matches, the strategy that they did.
Yeah.
They have adapted. So when Icebox kind of hit the competitive rotation, the map fundamentally operates kind of on a different axis than the rest of the maps. And a lot of players don't like it for good reason. There's a lot of like messed up stuff when it comes to Icebox. It's not the best map in the rotation, but it makes you have to think about the game differently, and you have to kind of play this more flow style strategy. You can't just say, I'm going to default A, B, or C, and if A doesn't work, I can go to one of these other two plans and then push from there, because you don't have the option to. You are really at the mercy of the rotation on the CT side and whether or not your initial push, works. And so I think the 100 Thieves style of spreading the map, slowing it down, getting some initial information, getting some utils out, and then being able to commit in a couple of places at once and then swing off of that and really pivot to what they want to do in their play style really benefited them in this tournament, and it shows because they also apply that ideology to other maps, and people were starting to kind of figure that out and readjust, and they were just, I think, one step ahead of the other top 4 teams. So
yeah, I've talked some of my grievances about Icebox in
Yeah.
Discord, so I'll save my talking piece. If you want to hear Rumz's thoughts on Icebox, you can just go to the Discord and check out the Valorant channel.
daily rants during ranked.
I'm not a huge fan of it.
No.
Keep it short and sweet. I just don't think it was built very well. I think the patch that we'll talk about here in just a second, I think the patch helped. I think it made it a little more fluid. I still think it needs a little bit of tweaking, but
for sure.
It was helpful.
For sure.
Helpful patch.
But it was nice. It was nice. TSM coming in second place. They looked a lot better. I swear they listened to our podcast. You know, all like 20 viewers that we have every week and week out on Spotify and stuff. One of them is aligned with TSM because we listed out all of these things that we said they were doing wrong, and if they changed them, they'd be more successful. And then they fixed like every single one this week when they played First Strike. And the last episode that we put out was right before First Strike. So, I mean, I'm just connecting the dots, okay? You've never seen me or Batman in the same room. I've never seen someone who's not TSM not listen to the podcast, you know? So
yeah, that tracks, man.
Exactly. It's good logic. But no, they were great. They slowed their gameplay down. They started to spread the map a little bit more, and they didn't play as hot-headed. Well, you know, they didn't let their emotions kind of get the better of them. For the most part, we saw a little bit of tilt creep in towards the 100 Thieves set. I think they were really hungry to try to beat them again because they lost during the qualifiers. And when they didn't take map 1, that was it. I think that was just kind of it. They didn't have a chance after that because they tilted themselves out of that personal set. They had like a personal story to it, and they couldn't set it aside, which I think was a big deal. So
yeah, TSM, when they stay calm, man, as they were throughout the majority of the tournament, they look like a completely different beast.
Yeah.
Previously, it looked like they had been a bunch of Counter-Strike players that had just been playing Valorant.
Correct.
But it looked like over First Strike, they turned to be Valorant players.
Oh, yeah.
Where they actually started using utility effectively and taking abilities and maximizing their effectiveness. Save Sabrosa on the Raze ultimate. Horrible.
Yeah.
Horrible.
No,
Sabrosa
for
on
sure.
the Raze ultimate. But he says so himself, so he likes to joke about it. But they looked like a completely different team. I like to see it. It looked like more of the same in the finals with the 100 Thieves set. It looked like they were kind of falling into old habits.
Yeah. They were defaulting a little bit. Autopilot, you know.
Autopiloting, and they were just trying to beat their heads into the wall, try to figure out a different way of putting a square peg in a round hole. You know
they just couldn't put it together. But that's okay.
Yeah. But I think it's just a testament to 100 Thieves as well, because
for sure
they have the ability to stare certain defeat in the face and just keep calm and level-headed throughout the whole thing.
And then Hiko gets like 3 kills.
I believe it was map 1. They were down something like 10-4 or 11-4 or something.
They did not hold a lead until overtime before taking the map.
Came back and then won.
Yeah.
So
which is crushing.
Testament to how far the champion 100 Thieves have came within like the whole competitive spectrum. You know, they started out young team, and they just came in and crushed it.
They're figuring it out, man.
Absolutely crushed it.
I'm so happy. So my thing with my thing with TSM. So like 2 or 3 weeks ago, no, is it? I guess it's longer than that. It's like a month and a half ago. They really kind of pioneered this triple duelist comp after like the second or third round of Cypher nerfs and the Sage nerfs. They're like, screw it. We don't need a Sentinel. We're just better. We'll swing everybody and win those gunfights. And that was true for like a week. And then they started to kind of struggle with it, and they never tried to readapt. So a lot of the times they didn't have any way to hole up a defense that was like on a weaker side. So they began playing this percentage game of going, okay, well, if we stack 3 here with 2 flashes and they push here, we should hold them pretty well in defense. But if we're wrong, we're going to have a really hard time retaking. And I get that the science is like we're super offensive. If we retake, it's not a big deal. But when you have to then push against the Sentinels who set up plus a couple of teammates knowing exactly where you're going to be coming from because you have to take that location instead of having some unknown to it, people just got used to it. And they ended up getting outplayed for it, which is what happened in games 2 and 4 of the 100 Thieves set specifically. I saw that a lot, where the rounds that 100 Thieves was really commanding and the momentum that they gained was based off of testing and figuring out where their defenses were pushed up and then leaving a lurker to just kind of throw wrenches at them while the other people got to initiate on a site and get the bomb down, and then that was it.
Yeah.
They didn't have the penetration for it. So
thwarted, yeah.
For sure. But I liked it a lot.
It was still a hell of a lot of fun. You know? It wasn't a blowout by any stretch. No. I think 3-1 doesn't speak to just how competitive the rounds were.
Especially,
it just seemed like in each and every round there was just a minor mistake on either side that would win to the victory or the loss of the round. And I think that just speaks volumes to the competitive integrity of the two teams. So
maps 1, 3, and 4 were all that way too, because I know for a fact, I believe 2 of them went to overtime, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
Let me double check.
I think so.
So I get it exactly right. So yeah, the first one went 15-13. Bind almost went to overtime, and then Ascent. Sorry, it was 1 and 2 almost went to 2 almost went to overtime, and then Ascent, TSM handily had it like they had the rest of the tournament, and then Haven. 100 Thieves just kind of walked over them on Haven. The 13-7 is it's understandable, but it didn't look like a 13-7. It looked like a 13-5, and they just kind of got a couple of good ones. But the last thing I have for this specifically is TSM. You got to win more pistols. You guys were like 2 for 6 or 2 for 8 on pistols or something like that. Yeah. Something awful. You got to win more pistol rounds if you're going to be successful in this game.
That's something that they're tracking. I believe it was Hayes who made a tweet and was joking about he and his squad's pistol rounds.
Yeah,
because they were just not winning pistol rounds. And pistol rounds, as we've talked previously in the podcast, they're huge rounds,
massively super important.
Especially when there's these games are shorter than CS:GO, where you could recover from a pistol loss, but in Valorant, man,
it's hard.
With the changes to the op econ, you lose that first pistol round. That second round is a bonus if you win. So you're looking at 2-0 to start, and then if you don't win your rifles, then you have the econ again. So econ, I would say econ is even a bigger impact than on CS:GO. So winning those pistol rounds is all the more important.
Exactly. So a little bit of fun stats for everybody as we kind of go through for the players that played the majority of the tournament. We had Austin coming in top ACS through all 9 maps. He played phenomenally.
Insane.
He's absolutely cracked. I don't understand. He takes an 8 ball before every match. I don't get it. Most played agent, Omen. Second most played agent was Jet. Third was Sova. So a little bit of some shifts of what's being consistently played every single map. And then this tournament, Bind was the most played map instead of Ascent. Fun. So Ascent was second, but Bind got played more often. So I wonder if that's a shift with the meta for best of 5 versus best of 3 or because of the finals. But we saw a lot of Bind this weekend, this past week. So that's pretty great. Kind of going into the next region, we had Europe, which was super surprising. With Heretics coming in first, which is less surprising if you've been paying attention to Europe, followed by Summon FC, and then G2 and Fun Plus Phoenix, Team Liquid, Null Pinky, Orglis, and Purple Cobras. I had fully expected Heretics to be top 2. I didn't think they weren't going to be top 2 until I saw that they had to play G2 in the semifinals. And when I saw Heretics and G2 in the semifinals, I was like, okay, so this is the grand final. They're just playing it early. In all honesty, Summon and Fun Plus Phoenix, you guys were great. Your match was awesome. I feel like Fun Plus Phoenix might have had a better time if I think Shao and Angel had some ping issues coming over from East Europe. They were having some high ping issues or variants in the network, which it's online. Sometimes it just happens. But I would have rather seen Team Heretics and G2 in a best of 5 than Summon and Heretics in a best of 5. For sure. I don't think Heretics and G2 needed to be on the same side of the bracket. I think that was an oversight.
I can't speak too smart on EU Valorant because I just don't follow it like I do US Valorant or any Valorant,
fair enough.
I should say.
Fair enough. But Heretics are great. If you haven't watched their VODs, go watch their VODs. They're really, really good. They do a lot of super crazy the kind of ways that they play this game. And they're really aggressive, which is nice, but they're not stupid about it. You know, like TSM is hot-headed aggression, where they're just so good at rifling, they're going to peek these angles. But Heretics is like that for EU, except they're really smart about it. And they're every aggression that they take, every like microcosm of like an angle that they've readjusted is for a specific reason, which is phenomenal. And the way that they actually play it, and it's really interesting because it's such a shift from North American styles of the individualistic play.
Right.
That it's almost like team-oriented aggression, which is something that you don't really get to see a whole lot. So that was kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people are still figuring out in the meta. You know, both EU and NA alike.
For sure.
How to play Valorant as a team game, you know, as opposed to an individual frag out kind of game. I think that's still something that everybody's still figuring out. You know, so
I would agree.
To see that in top level play is fun. It means people are starting to get it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And then last but not least, we have the Korean. So Korea, I dismissed at the beginning. You can go back to one of our old episodes when we talked about esports, and I didn't give Korea the time of day. I was like, they're whatever, it's FPS games. The only one they've ever been good at is Overwatch. Everything else they kind of like fall off. You know, I mean, it's true. But apparently there's enough crossover.
Aren't they pretty good at
these?
League?
Yeah, but that's not an FPS game. That's RTS.
Oh, you said FPS.
Yeah, FPS games.
I thought you just said competitive.
No. They're gods at almost every other esports. But FPS, they've always fallen to like EU. EU's always been kind of the top dog, kind of Eastern Europe. It's a close fight now. So I went back and I watched the Korean VODs because all of them happened at like 1 a.m. and I was asleep for the most part. Specifically, I watched and I tuned in. Shout out Sean Garris. For some of his streams and some of his work and talking and his thought process through some of these VODs it really helped me go back and reanalyze some of these VODs again when I was going to get my talking points to talk about this. But Vision Strikers and TNL are absolutely nuts in the way that they operate and play this game. I can see, I've played a lot of Overwatch. I've played some high-level Overwatch. And to see some of those core fundamentals between the communications and rotational strategies and the way that they play that game adapted to a CS-style game is ridiculous. So specifically, my favorite thing is the Icebox match with Vision Strikers against TNL in the Grand Finals. You can go find it on YouTube. There's an English commentary to it. Or better yet, go watch Sean Garris' breakdown because he's going to talk about a lot of this stuff. But every little bit of intel that Vision Strikers would gain would immediately cause this shift in the team to react to what the other team was going to do on their push to lock them out of what they were trying to do. And the way that they used each individual utility between Omen Smoke and Breach Stun and Breach Flash and Jet Smoke, or Omen and Cypher and Breach or whatever they were doing specifically on these defensive holds, you couldn't take an offensive position because you just didn't know what was going on because it always looked the same. But it was 4 different strategies that they alternated between whatever was going on. Wow. So, and it's a little different, obviously, because the maps have been altered. But like they were reconditioning their opponent with a Breach Stun through, A side on Icebox, to where you can shoot it right over the end. So like if you're on the T side and you're going to swing in the middle around those blue boxes, you're going to get stunned. And if you sit behind those blue boxes, you're going to get stunned. So you have to go over to the A side. And if you're already going to A side, right, based off of that stun of not getting that kind of any information or feedback from like a Sova drone or the Cypher cam that they had planted there, they knew to send the one person in the middle over to 4 stack onto A. And then they would drop a combination of Omen Smoke plus Jet Smoke to create a one-way on B that was just permanent, that wouldn't let the opponents push into B. You know, if they were going, they had to take a 50-50 fight coming out of the smoke, which is more like 25-75 in this game. Offense and defense from a one-way. Then, on the A side of the map, you had a Cypher Trip or a Cypher Cam that was in place, or a Sova Drone or a Sova Recon Arrow, depending on who was playing on A in that specific route, that got to pick up this massive intel, and then just go, okay, well, oopty-dope, I'm going to swing all the way back over. And then they have the site completely locked down before the offense can even like get halfway up their push.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. The kids are absolutely cracked. Every single thing that they did was perfect for a reason. And like they had a calculated risk or calculated action for everything they did. It wasn't just feeling. It was, they did this, so I'm going to do A, B, or C. This time it's A, next time it's B, this next time it's C, and then it's A again. And watching it just blew my mind. These kids are cracked.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'll have to go, check those out.
Yeah, no, for sure. These guys are nuts. It feels like they're playing the next step.
Like a different game.
Yeah, it's like their Valorant is different in how they're approaching it. And that's not to really say that NA or EU couldn't hack it against Vision Strikers and TNL. I think that TNL would go even or slightly below even against these other regions. But Vision Strikers, I wouldn't be surprised if they came in and just mopped everybody. But I also wouldn't be surprised to see a team that's used to doing that kind of ebb and flow back and forth reactionary strategies like 100 Thieves or Sentinels do well against them, because they were very methodical, and once you figure out that there's a pattern, you can exploit the pattern. And people like Nitro and Hiko are really smart about figuring those patterns out, So, but that was really hot. You guys should go watch. Everybody should go watch the Korean VODs. It's great. Their production staff is better than ours, hands down. They're using new observation tools and everything they put in the patch today. They were already using, and they just killed it. It was fantastic.
That's a piece that I want to talk about as well.
Yeah.
It looked really, really nice.
Yes.
First Strike NA.
I was happy.
Fabulous job to the production team for reinventing and just continuing to improve on the production scheme.
For sure.
For competitive Valorant. Because, in young sport, right? So, young game. Previous broadcasts have been, they've been okay. But First Strike really looked like something that you can actually, look at and enjoy. And what I actually enjoy too is that they took feedback from some of the community on Twitter. The devs were consistently moderating Twitter and just making sure, like, whatever suggestions that the community had, they did take that, and then they put it into the production team, which I really thoroughly enjoyed. And it looked like a tournament that you can watch.
Oh, no, it was great. And they're still making improvements. We'll see it in the patch notes today. They had, if you want to go read the link and everything that happened, they added some more observer stuff to kind of set up for the next leg. They're always improving that and focusing on that. What's super exciting, it's not in the patch notes, but some of the devs talked about it. Right now they are focused on pushing out 2 more maps, which is, it's great. I want more maps.
It's nice.
Before they get back to agents and making more agents, although we have seen a little bit of spoiler, a little bit of unconfirmed spoilers of a new agent, so we'll see. But
yeah, I'm excited for new maps.
Yes,
long as they aren't
Icebox.
Icebox.
It's okay. They've made some changes.
I hate to be negative, man, but
let's get into it.
A lot going on with that map.
Let's get into these changes and what's going on. So
save me from my soapbox.
We have some agent changes with Sage. Shocker. Seems like she gets nerfed every 2 patches, but this one is a buff, which is nice. One, you can't cast your berry orb in buy phase. This is great. It probably reduces a lot of bugs and shenanigans that can happen with the wall because it creates new terrain that they weren't expecting. And they made it to where if your barrier gets fortified, so if you don't know, it starts weak and then hardens over time. So once it hardens, the barrier doesn't lose its health over time until right before it would die out to time. I think it's like 2 or 3 seconds. It starts to rapidly decay after that.
Yep.
Which is great. I think buffing Sage is great. She has some interesting play opportunities for specialists on particular maps. And outside of that, probably we still want to stay away. She just kind of doesn't play into the way that the game's playing. But
I think what's interesting about Sage is even though she's kind of fallen from grace, she's never really fallen completely out of playability.
For sure.
And I think that's, she's really close to approaching that balance zone.
Right.
Because her utility is unique in that she can just completely slow pushes with her orbs.
Oh, yeah.
And she can also just set up a complete barrier. So she has her place in the game. Not unplayable. So I think she's really approaching that balanced point, which I like to see.
Yeah. If there exists a metagame where a healthy amount of the agents aren't just auto picks every map, we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
1 or 2 auto picks every single map, sure, that happens. Well, that's how metas work. But for everything else to be rather varied, I think is good for the state of the game because it keeps the game new and fresh. So
yeah, there's obviously there's going to be 2 must-pick agents in every team, and that's either going to be the Brim or the Omen.
Yeah.
Meta talking points aside.
Come on, it's Omen.
You're gonna pick one or the other, but one of those 2 should be on your team.
I'm just gonna play Omen every game like everything else. It's okay.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we have some icebox changes. This is the more exciting part of the patch. They've just raw changed like terrain in general, specifically A, which is the big open facility kind of area. They've made a lot of changes to make it more linear from
level.
Yeah,
planar.
So they've brought the verticality down, which is great. But as far as routing and stuff goes, they've removed some of this 50-50 stuff, which was originally present in the game, which feels a lot better. So the top belt section, which is on terrorist side, there's like the super high double stack high rise that you jump off of and then can't jump back onto, has now been lowered. It's been lowered by like almost half of its height, and it added a ramp and then a gated door that cuts it off. So if you're coming from the ground and you're going behind where the zip line is on T side, there's a gated door that you can't walk through. You can TP through if you're Omen, but you cannot walk through. But if you walk up and around down the ramps onto that kind of upper rise, then you can drop down into the lane and be on the right side of that kind of zip line.
Yep.
I like this. You have an option to retreat should you take that path, which is great as far as the ramp goes. I really hated like being like, okay, I guess I'll jump down and they'll hear me, but
guess I'll die.
Yeah, now you get to walk down. The door's weird. I don't understand why.
Yeah, I think I think the objective of the gated door, from my imagination, looking at the plans and looking at the change.
Yeah.
I think the objective of the gated door is to create the angle, but make it impassable. Because, like you said before, the 50-50 movement options, you could either go to the left of the can or you could go to the right of the can. And that just creates too much if.
Yeah.
So I think by blocking the movement there, you restrict your path of travel, but you also leave that angle open so that you're not completely cutting off that segment of the map.
You had some potential shenanigans.
Correct.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I can see that it's just weird. I don't know. It's just weird. But that's okay. What else is there? The next one is, so going into the A main push, which is, there's like the weird like electrical box you can drop off to from zipline, what the zipline passes over that like walkway right there.
Yep.
If you're on T side going into bomb site, there was a flat 90 degree to your right and a flat 90 degree to your left. On the right, it's now a 45 that you can clear approaching the angle from the left-hand T side. So you can kind of like swing in and say, okay, nobody's there, and then check the left instead of having to go, I think he's in this one, and then hoping that you don't get shot in the back.
Right.
So this is nice. This is a good change.
Good.
This is a good change. The double stack Radiant box, which are those green and gray boxes, if you guys don't know. So the double stack Radiant box behind the electric generator on the right hand of A site has been taken away.
So abstract.
Yeah, it's gone. It's now these tiny little random blocks that you can see over even if you crouch for the most part. So the cover is just kind of gone. This is great. This is great. This is awesome. So even if you take A site, one of the things you always have to constantly worry about is somebody lurking or playing around this double stack, because they had like two pieces of covered and it again created this 50-50. It goes, okay, is he behind electric gen or is he going to peek me from the, is he going to swing out to my left looking at the box? You have to pick one and hope, which I think is bad because you can't methodically clear like the fundamentals of playing the game, an attack shooter, are just gone. And they're kind of fixing some of that, which is nice.
Yeah, a lot of times on that A site, you were pretty much forced, if you were in a retake or a take, you were forced to just kind of go headlong and headstrong into the site and just hope that you pick the right angle. Yep. Because like you said, there was just no methodical way to clear, which is a core fundamental of tech FPS.
Yeah. This is super nice. Also, the yellow container on the B site instead of being a double stacked shipping container, is now like a 1.5 stack shipping container. This is so that if you're worried about someone being up there with an agent who can get up there, which is still like Omen, Jet, and Raze, and that's it. If you're worried somebody's going to be up there, you don't have to displace your crosshair so much so that you have an unrealistic readjustment if somebody turns out to be on the ground and you have to try to make like a quick flick. Because some people just don't have they don't have the room on their mouse pads, you know? Not everybody plays on a sensitivity high enough or is not comfortable high enough, so they just be like, oh, I'm dead here. And that was really big, feels bad.
Yeah.
So, all in all, I like these changes. This is a good direction. I still want an extra path into B from attack side.
Yeah. I was, kind of thinking about this creatively.
Yeah.
I think if they could make a way, and this is just speculating here, if they could have a way to enter B through mid, either a window
that's
or
not Potter
an opening that's not. Oh, I mean A. Excuse me. To enter like into A from the side, I think that would be nice.
It would be, but it still means that 90% of your offensive pushes are on A, which is bad.
True.
Like even today on the new changes, obviously there's new stuff on A, so it's inflated a little bit. But out of the 12 offensive rounds that we played, like 10 of them ended up being fought on A side, which is just boring.
Yeah, B it's cut off by two, pretty
it's just
big
weird.
Chokes.
Yeah, which is why I want one more entry point. I think it just needs one more. So like the crane on B side, right, the big green thing in the middle. Yeah. There's this weird 2-story on T side right next to the blue shipping containers, like it forms like a wall.
Yep.
And I don't understand why it's there. It just doesn't serve any actual purpose. But I feel like if they were to take it out,
noise.
Yeah, like if you could take that out, so that you could walk across crane and then go up on that like right hand side instead of going under like the little crevice or whatever you get that's underneath crane. If you could walk across from it and then up, I think that would be kind of cool, because then you're not choked by an Omen one way. Because like I can just permanently one way B and just sit there until you tell me that they're at A, and then I'll leave and they can't fight me because I'll kill them because they can't see me but I can see them. But if they could just jump across, then I'm like, oh crap, I have to use a util here or teleport out or take this fight, which forces options on both sides, which makes the game more interesting and allows for more variability. Makes and more fun for the game to exist as the game. I just want to play the shooty game.
I just want to play the game.
But anyway, that's it. For the rest of this, we have snowball fight. It was added. I haven't played it yet because it's not out. It's a team deathmatch. You throw snowballs at each other. It seems like fun. Probably play it a couple times. Turn it into a drinking game. That's probably more fun.
Yeah, probably.
Competitive updates. Your ranked and career pages now function correctly. Yay. Big yay.
Fun.
They're going to introduce a new store function. This is basically a loot box that opens on December 10th. You pay a discounted price. You get a random skin. Fair enough.
That's fun.
You have a select, deluxe, or premium, which are the 3 rarities, least to greatest. But
I like that, but
at the same time,
something more off the top of that, because if you're going to introduce this amount of skins and this variability into being able to get skins, you need to give me a way to showcase those skins.
Correct.
I've mentioned this before in our games. I want to see T and CT sided different skins, and I also want a random skin button.
Yes.
Because I like this. I like all the skins that I purchase, else I wouldn't purchase them.
Right.
And I want to see them in my games.
Right.
So if I happen to pull a gallery phantom and then the next round or the next game I pull, my like
Oni.
I don't know. Oni. I pull my Oni Phantom, right? I'm gonna like them both, and I want to see them. So give me a random skin.
No, I feel that too, man. Because I use the Prime Vandal for a long time.
Yeah, I love the Prime Vandal.
And then they came out with Soccer Vandal, and I was like, man, cherry blossoms. And then they came out with the Reaver Vandal and the Dragon Vandal, and I have all of these. And I'm looking, I'm like, this one, and then I forget to change it. And then I have them just sitting on the wall. I'm like, bruh, come on, let me switch it up.
You can't use them. It's kind of lame.
I'd be super down
for CT T-sided skins is going to be a bit better than the random button, but
I want the random button.
But I want them both.
Yeah.
I want them both.
No, I want the random button because I don't care. I just want them to be different and change it up a little bit. And it's not hard. unless they're like loading their textures. So this is the programmer nerd in me. Unless they're loading their textures individually at the beginning of every game and not changing them throughout the entire game, I don't understand why the implementation wouldn't be there, right? So, like, let's say at the end of every round, the game resets all the characters and then reloads all their stuff from the server to you. I don't understand why you can't just pull the different code for that skin out of the users.
Even if it just loads once in the beginning of the game, then you make a random skin per game.
Yeah, sure, and that's fine. It doesn't even need to be per round.
Better.
And the T and CT still works.
Yeah.
Because there's no way, you cannot tell me there's no way that there's not a flag in the system that goes, this person is on defense and this person is on offense, because it's already there. That's how we know what team we're on.
Right.
So all you have to do is tie the skin code to it when you log in. It's just attach a little node. That's it. It'll be fine. You can figure it out. You guys are smart. Come on. For Christmas. I want my Christmas present, Riot. Let's go. Some other things, systems, they've added a lot of things to help competitive play. Things like game state recovery, some extra cinematic cameras, the ability to follow projectiles. They added specific like stationary cinematic spots that they've figured out players like to be able to watch from, to see an overarching view of the what's going on, and some other stuff like that for the observers. And then they fixed some great bugs, And then they attacked Smurfs. I kind of skipped that part.
Yeah.
They changed how you unlock ranked. So you can no longer int or AFK for 20 games. You have to win 10 unrated matches. So this, in combination with them making ranks, I think it's below diamond, you can promo faster out of ranks that are below diamond. So the combination of you having to win a whole bunch of games to get ranked, and then every time you win or dominate in ranked, your rank goes up quicker, it will propel these Smurfs farther out of the games they don't belong in.
Yep.
This is a really elegant solution to this, and I'm really mad that I didn't think about it when we talked about how to handle Smurfs. Because it's so simple, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. Because if you inflate the ranks between bronze and platinum, there's a lot of fluctuation already there. And realistically speaking, a true silver, right, or true like high bronze to low silver cannot inflate their rank all the way to platinum without bubbling back down after 20 games, realistically speaking. But because there's a cutoff point to this propulsion system at diamond where things get hard, quote unquote, for whoever's out there like, oh, I'm radiant, quote unquote, when it gets hard and you have to start earning more of your promotions, you can still work to earning more of your promotions, and you don't have the boosted silver gold players in your diamond games that are throwing you off, because it happens. Everybody says you're in the rank you belong in. Sometimes you just get 2 DCs and a guy that plugged his mouse in backwards.
Yeah. That happened to me
yesterday.
Throw a pity party for how my placements went, but 2 of my placements I just had a DC.
Yeah. Which needs harsher punishment, by the way.
A couple of games ago, I was playing a solo ranked, and I was quickly reminded why I don't do solo queue in ranked, because I had a DC, and I think I had 38 to 40 kills.
Yeah. Me and you have different. Sometimes
38 and like 17, and I didn't D-rank, but I lost rank because I had somebody that left. I just don't think that's fair.
I think if you have any kind of DC, that person eats a loss. Just outright.
Yep.
They eat a standard rank drop. Standard decrease. Everybody else who's on the team with the DC don't lose rank. Their MMR ranks unchanged. I don't care if you go 50-2. Your rank doesn't change.
Does not change.
And the people who win, they get a general increase or a slight increase.
Yeah, they get
depending on their personal performance.
And dependent upon.
Nobody's mad at the end of that. They're like, hey man, it's 4v5, it's 3v5, it's whatever. Like even Overwatch is like, oh, your guy left, he's been gone for a minute. You can leave, and you'll get a loss, but it's not a penalty. But you're a man down, and everybody just leaves. Why? Why penalize the people that, little Timmy's Wi-Fi blew up? It happens. So, anyway.
Not even,
it's kind of wild.
That's just, I want to see that change implemented sooner than later.
We do. We need a new system for that.
In the ELO that I was placed at, whether I believe I belong there or not,
It's prevalent.
It just happens.
It does.
You know, there's a lot of levers.
People have toasters.
Yeah, it's very frustrating. So
people get angry. It's understandable. Sorry, I'm back now. For those, we're gonna kind of switch gears a little bit. For those that don't know, I was playing World of Warcraft pretty heavily, and I stopped. And we'll talk about why. I want to do an episode. I got to run it over with Rumz and kind of think it out because it's a heavier episode. But we'll talk about it and really work out exactly why I stopped playing WoW. But I was playing WoW, and the new raid, Castle Nathria, has officially dropped. I don't think it's on beta, but I think it's like actually dropped. Live servers dropped on the 8th, I want to say. This is when my guildies were running it. But in the process leading up to this, Shadowlands has become the fastest selling PC game ever.
Yep.
Wild. Considering
huge.
3 expansions ago, WoW had like dropped 25 to 30% of its players.
Yeah.
Was that WoD?
Back in WoD.
Yeah.
WoD, yeah.
And then BFA, you saw another fall off of people canceling subs. And
Legion.
It's so massive tick up.
WoD, Legion, BFA, and then Shadowlands.
For those that are listening, Rumz made a roller coaster worm motion with his hand.
I did make a roller coaster with me.
But yeah, it seems like they alternate like really good expansion, really bad expansion. Shadowlands was pretty good. They reintroduced a lot of the good grind, like the good old feeling back into it. Torghast was super cool. The raid looked super interesting. All of the dungeons, I didn't hate any of the dungeons. I thought they were all really excellently done. All the classes were playable for the first time in a long time. But
I didn't like one zone. I didn't like the Bastion.
Okay,
I don't think the Bastion was designed very well.
Bastion was fine until they flashbanged me repeatedly with all the flashes of bright white light. Because I had my lights turned off and I just like, oh, I'm blind.
The reason why I don't like Bastion is because I just didn't feel like I was part of the story.
It's true.
I feel like it's Shadowlands theme as a whole. I just don't feel like the character is involved. I feel like I'm just there listening to other people speak while I assist them.
It could be
with their problem,
and that could have been an interesting storytelling point. Like they say, "Oh, you're this champion of Azeroth. You're widely known across the entire plane." Yeah. And then you enter this world of immortals, and you're like, "Oh crap, I'm tiny boy." Like
that's
I'm insignificant.
So the reason why I'm okay with it is because that's how I interpret it, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm not a god, okay? I'm just a death knight that just happened to do
some cool
stuff,
of
great things over the course of his life. So, for me, that's how I take the lore.
But some people might take it the other way. It's understandable.
As a player, some people don't take it that way.
It's understandable.
Not a lot of people are going to have that
understandable.
Grace. So.
But yeah, it was cool. So anyway, that happened. I'm going to move on from WoW now because we have some other cool stuff to talk about, like Cyberpunk 2077 came out. It comes out, sorry, in 3 hours and 15 minutes. I think it drops for everybody who has it. Because it's the end.
Wasn't it a couple hours ago?
It launches, quote unquote, today, but I thought it was local time 00:12:10 for Eastern.
I thought it was.
But I may be wrong.
I thought my friend said it was out.
It's already out?
Oh,
okay. Never mind. I'm stupid. I don't know how to read articles. My bad. Anyway, I saw some gameplay, some YouTubers, some Let's Play YouTubers that I watch to get these single-player experiences because I don't buy a lot of single-player games. I don't have time. No. But I'll watch other people play them and get the experience through them. And if Cyberpunk, it looks really cool. So if it ever goes on sale, I'll pick it up. Right? That's how it's kind of how I am now. I'm kind of like an old man gamer.
I've been avoiding content on it because I do have time for single-player games. I love single-player games.
Imagine not being busy.
Well, I am busy. I just make time for single-player games.
Imagine
I love them.
Not running a full-time school schedule and work and podcast. It's just wow. Couldn't be me.
Yeah, well. Anyway, I avoid the content on it.
That's understandable.
I want to experience it myself at some point.
All in all, I am really impressed. The graphics are sick. The physics are awesome. The ray tracing is super well done. The character creation is, some of you may understand, a little bit less than what I was expecting out of the character creation. There are some features that aren't there that I wish were there, and some options aren't as expansive as I would like it to be, but it's still a good character creation by all means. It's not bad.
We've got Brian in the chat who's I believe played a little bit of it. Brian, what's your initial hot take while we're trudging along? I'll let you type that out.
But it looks really cool. The guy that I'm watching, there's 3 initial story maths that you're gonna take. He chose Nomad. Looks super sick. If I ever get the game, I'm gonna have to play all 3. That's how it works. But it's cool. The lore looks really cool. The combat's great. But and Brian's gonna send us a paragraph. So.
Paragraph.
Yeah.
Word.
But it looks super cool, man. The gameplay is super chill. After I run some upgrades on my system, I'll probably pick it up. Because if I'm gonna buy those, like if I'm gonna play those kind of games, man, I gotta play those kind of games. You know.
Yeah.
I gotta really bare my teeth into it. So.
Yeah. True. I still need to finish Valhalla.
I
take my time.
I haven't played AC since like Black Flag. That was the last one I got. That was the last time I got one on time. I liked it because I could fish. That was my favorite. I got to customize a big ship, and then I got to roam around and fish, which was super dope. And it made me happy. So that was fun. And then I added it some other games, but it just didn't feel the same. Something about fishing in the Caribbean and pulling stuff up was great. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, fishing in Valhalla was fun because there's different types of fish, and you have to go to certain areas to get certain types of fish to collect. And there's a building in your settlement, the fisher's hut, and if you collect a certain amount of the certain kinds of fish of certain sizes, they will give you exclusive rewards. So
for sure,
it's kind of a fun little mini grind.
For sure. So while Brian's typing this up, and we're gonna talk about it. I'm waiting. I'm gonna extend the show. I don't care how long it takes. He's gonna send me a paragraph, but. For next week's show, we're gonna do a little bit of tidbits. So, I was thinking, because I'm about to wrap up my final exams. My last one is tomorrow. Yep. I've gotten all A's I've gotten 3 A's and 2 B's out of my 5 so far. Yeah, I know, it's great. And I have one more tomorrow. So I got some more time on my hands to prep for these shows and some more inner thoughts. So I'd love to hear your guys' feedback. Please tweet us at Twitter, OneTapCast. Join us on Discord so you can get feedback there. We listen, we talk, we hang out. I'm in Discord constantly. Or you can obviously talk in the live chat of the show, leave it on comment on YouTube, whatever. Just let me know. Sure. I kind of want both of us to kind of scrap together this idea of what we want the future for Valorant esports to really look like. Mm-hmm. We talk about general games on the show, but like 80% of it is Valorant content because that's both of our like. That's like
we were founded on.
We were founded on Valorant, but that's like our main game. You know, like 90. If I'm playing a video game, it's probably Valorant. Occasionally it's Magic. Occasionally it's Street Fighter, but most of the time it's Valorant, right? So I want to kind of break into Brian. I see your post. I'm gonna get to it in just a second. So I want to see if we can, like, me and you work together and we kind of break down this format that we'd like to see come out of Valorant esports, because we talk about it all the time. Boy. The tournaments and the way that they have them set up are great for viewership, right? Yep. They're quick and they're easy, but for a competitive setting and a competition setting, and we have a groundwork to be laid because of First Strike, so we have something to base it off of for the next Champions upcoming next year. But after Champions, I really want to talk about breaking down a league system, like a Valorant Championship Series or Valorant Pro League or whatever.
Yeah.
And what we would like to see out of that, taking what we've learned from something like OWL, Overwatch League, or the Call of Duty League, or the RCS stuff, all that kind of stuff. But I think we can sit down and really break it up. And if you guys would be interested in talking about that, theory crafting that with us, join the conversation, tweet us at OneTapCast anywhere and everywhere, and join us on Discord and really kind of get in that discussion, take a part of it. And if you come up and if you hit me up with a good idea and you are above the age of 16, I will bring you on the show to talk about it with us. And we'll break it. We will break your idea down, but you have to be over 16. And if you're under 18, I have to talk to your parents, but we can knock it out.
So I'm going to go ahead and read Brian's message here.
For sure. What do we got?
So Brian says, the game seems really deep with a lot of replay value. Gunplay feels really okay, like slightly worse than COD. There's so many ways to play the game that I can see one playthrough lasting as long as they've said it can last 175 hours-ish. Or not that long if you live a no life. If you know life, the main story, 20 to 30 hours.
So it's like Witcher 3.
If you like the build, if you like the build you make, I imagine you can stay on that build for a long time. Otherwise, you can just boot a new character and go from there.
So can you not switch your character build mid-game? Like if I get tired, like if I build a super stealthy guy and I'm like, this is lame, I want to switch to something else, can I not like re-skill or like re-attribute myself? Because if I can't, that sucks. And that's super lame. And it makes me angry that they didn't do that. But it sounds like a CD Projekt Red game. It sounds like Witcher 3. Because when I played Witcher 3 the first time, I didn't realize I was off of the main story until I looked up what to do next. Because I was like doing a side quest and the chain ended and I was like, the game's not over. what happened? So I looked it up and I was like, oh crap, I'm on the wrong storyline. So then I went back. It was fine. So it sounds like a CD Projekt Red game, which is fine. I'm not disappointed. Some of the voice acting could be better because it's a dialogue choice game, and it learns off of that. But nitpicky. So far, I've watched, I don't know, 3 hours of content, 4 hours of content of the game. So far it's like a 7. I feel pretty confident rating it a 7 so far into the game at 4 hours, watching it and kind of absorbing it. So
can't rate it. Haven't seen it.
That's okay.
I
won't spoil anything
that I'd like to mention.
Sure. What you got?
Is that Total War Warhammer 2's DLC that came out a couple days ago? I did pick that up today. I did start playing it. It is.
Is
very
that
fun.
One of those ones with the stream integration? Is that the game I'm thinking of? Or am I thinking of a different game?
Maybe.
There was one where you could run like polls and they would help your decisions. Because if that is, I'll give you the stream key and I'll troll you while you play the game.
I think you're thinking of a different game.
Maybe, I don't know. But okay, so you have 5 stats: body intelligence, reflexes, cool, and technical. Why not just call it charisma?
Cool.
Just call it charisma. Everything says that you more or less stick to that build. Okay, well maybe we'll figure it out. Maybe somebody will figure out that there's a reskill or something. Because if you can't, that's a shame. But that's how it goes, I guess. But I think that's all I got for today. If you guys enjoyed the show, please follow the Twitch channel and the YouTube and the Twitter and the Instagram. I do post on there sometimes when I remember. At OneTapCast, anywhere and everywhere. If you'd like, you're more than welcome to stick around. We're going to get right back to it. We're actually going to hop on, I believe, and play some ranked Valorant. Or at least try to play ranked Valorant. Unless we get enough people.
We have people playing.
Playing what?
And every time Nova comes, we can't play ranked. But we love to play with Nova.
If Nova comes, then we'll just mess around and unrated and do funny things, depending on who's playing. But I've made a deal to try to get Brian. So we keep referencing him. He's BPC in the chat. He's one of our regulars, and we love Brian. We've made a deal to try to get him to what is it, gold by the end of December. Mm-hmm. So I need to finish my alt account so that I can play with Brian and get him into a degree so I can play on my main account so that we can push him as high as we can go. Because with this new rank system, and all of us are above average players most of the time, we should be able to push into plat and then play with Nova anyway. So
I got told I was supposed to be diamond today.
Oh yeah, by the random Reyna with no mic. That's definitely diamond 3.
He said he was diamond 2.
Oh, but yes, you're pretty good. I could see that. But that's all I got. I appreciate everybody who came in and sticking around. We'll be back here in just like maybe a minute or two while I get everything switched over, and make sure to have great games, and we'll catch you next time.
Take care, guys.